r/AskReddit. What's a bad thing everyone should experience once? NSFW. Laying a beloved pet to rest. I had to say goodbye to my best friend of 15 years. My yellow Labrador. This past Monday. Worst day of my life. I don't know if I can ever have another dog, as they will never measure up to him, and I never want to go through this again. He slept by my bedside every night, and every night I would reach down to pet him before going to sleep. Now he isn't there. Go hug your pets. Did the same thing to my beloved Labrador on May 1st. I loved that dog so much, and she was 1 month short of 15. I petted her every morning and night, waking up and going to sleep, and by my calculations, walked her in excess of 6,000 miles. I have never done something like this so soon before, but I went and adopted a rescue. I don't regret it for a moment. Sleep paralysis. Nothing like a good old fear for your life situation, while feeling absolutely powerless to kick your life into gear. A tip for those of you that get this occasionally that worked for me. When you encounter your demon, don't try to escape or get help. Instead, communicate with it. I know you won't be able to talk, but you can think to it, since it is mostly a creation of your own mind in the first place. Try to welcome it, befriend it. I let mine lay down next to me, and we chilled until it faded away, and I went back to sleep. I have not gotten sleep paralysis since. I've learned that if I just force myself to roar, I'll regain control, and it causes the demon at the foot of the bed to flee. Right before you both get off, take a really deep breath. The extra oxygen goes straight to your brain and makes your orgasm about 2x more intense. Edit. You are all welcome. Enjoy falling off the bed. Both. Does it work by myself? Yes. Just hold your breath in, or tie a spiked leather belt around your neck and temporarily hang yourself with your ankles strapped to your thighs while the room is on fire. Everyone should experience firsthand how money can destroy close relationships and how quickly it can happen. I was dating a girl who had a lifelong friend with bad credit. Like really bad. She wanted to buy a new car, but couldn't get approved for a loan and asked my friend to co-sign. Then it turned out her credit was so bad, she couldn't even use a cosigner. They wouldn't issue the loan unless with her name anywhere on it. So she had the idea, could you buy the car/get the loan? And I'll just make the monthly payments until it's paid off. I told her, do not do this. There is a reason she has bad credit. Well, she didn't listen and bought the car for her friend. Her friend made exactly one payment to her, and the next month nothing. She started ditching phone calls, and then we find out she moved out of her apartment. Suddenly this girl's family, who my friend has known for like 15 years, is pretending they don't know where she lives and has no way of getting in contact with her. A couple more weeks and an envelope with half a car payment, 3 weeks late at this point, shows up stuck under my girlfriend's doormat. Next payment comes due, and nothing. So now my girlfriend is making the payments every month on a car she hasn't seen in months. Her friend who promised to make payments is a payment and a half behind, and it's only been 3 months. The one thing she had listened to me about was she kept a key to the car. So we had the idea we'd find the car and take it, since it was legally and morally her car anyway. So we spent I don't even know how many weeks every night driving around for hours, hitting this chick's hangout spots, friends' houses, family houses, etc. until one night we find the car parked in front of her father's condo. My girlfriend jumped in, took the car, and drove it to another friend's house who was going to let her put it in his garage for a while until things cooled off. We weren't 2 minutes gone before bad credit chick is blowing up her pager. Yeah, it was that long ago, having suddenly remembered her number. Anyway, long story short, this was a lifelong friendship. And this chick barely even hesitated at the chance to steal a ducking car from someone who was trying to help her. Could have also reported it as stolen. Like I said, long story short, we did try to report it stolen, and were informed it was a civil matter, not a criminal one. The police were of the opinion that if you ever give someone permission to use your car, they're under no obligation to ever return it as far as the police are concerned. We went so far as to consult with a private investigator, thinking they might be able to track down where she was living now. The guy was cool enough to say that it was going to cost way more money than we were prepared to spend. And mostly he'd be driving around to hangouts looking for the car, which we could just do ourselves. And did. Telling someone that you have a crush on how you feel. Most of the time. They will not feel the same. You will feel like crap. And you will get over it, and then you realize that life goes on and that person doesn't have as much control over you. Getting used to rejection is a powerful superpower. I did. She did not reciprocate. But we remained friends, because I was carrying a torch that would break Miss Liberty's back. I didn't realize, until my wife came along some years later, that this friend was only staying friends, because her insecurity needed constant feeding of adoration regardless of the source. When I finally confronted her with it, she walked away, and I never heard from her again. One of my major steps toward adulthood. Visiting Auschwitz in Poland. It's an awful place to be surrounded by, and is definitely not a positive experience whatsoever. But when you're there you get a better understanding of what it was like to be trapped there. You can no longer hear those stupid edgy jokes about burning Jews. It makes me shudder and feels painful to hear now for me honestly, and that can only be a good thing, It's just not funny. Learn from history, and be very conscious of what leaders can do to their people. Most importantly though, pay respects to those who suffered some of the greatest pain and depravity the world has ever seen. That moment of panic and the lingering feeling in the pit of your stomach when you're at the park. Encounter geese and have no corn or bread. Not even necessarily your fault. Things like stale bread or deer corn sold out at Tractor Supply can happen. Something that reminds you that no matter how much time we spend walking around the park and how easy it usually is going down the sidewalk, geese are ducking dangerous and you don't want to get careless. Something that reminds you why respecting geese rights deserves your full attention the entire time. Combat. There'd be a lot less war if people knew what it was like to actually get shot at. Hard labor and working in customer service. Done both, were off to a good start. Currently there. High five. Back injury. I don't mean no I'm a little sore, I mean duck me. I can't get up off the floor. This happened to me last week when I injured my lower back hauling away a solid engine in its entirety and several tire rims, and the next morning I bent down to get dressed after a shower and suddenly my lower back felt like it was on fire. I went down to the floor and legit couldn't get off of it, as if my back literally couldn't support me enough to stand. Pain aside, I eventually pulled myself into my bed after an hour and a half and stayed there for hours until someone brought me a painkiller so I could stand up hunched over and walk to do for myself. Even today I still feel like random parts of my lower half are permanently cramping. It really makes you realize how fragile the average person is and how important your lower back is just to do basic HIIT and to take better care of it. Also, I'm only 24. Everyone needs to get beat up once. If people understood the potential consequences of HIIT talking people, they would take that extra second to rethink their decisions. My college buddies were notorious HIIT starters in bars. I'm almost always around to cool things off. Was a lean 6'5", 250 back in those days, so people usually ended up walking away. One Saturday I declined the weekly stampede to the bars, and at 1 AM, in comes walking my two roommates. Both with ducked up faces, torn clothes and no shoes. These mother duckers talked HIIT to a group of guys as per usual, and when they left the bar they got jumped in the alley something fierce, and had their shoes stolen. Every time after that I went out drinking with them, they, all of a sudden, weren't those macho alphas they had portrayed for the last several years. They had evolved into normal humans. I was lucky enough to have had my beatdown occur in middle school, so I didn't suffer the physical portion of the lesson as badly as most. Running through fields of wheat. So naughty. Almost too naughty. Geez. I don't want to be that person. But half of these are just hitty experiences that no one should actively go to experience. Someone put have a hitty relationship. What the hell would I want that for? Some of these are as good as saying well everyone should experience getting shot by a gun. So you know what it feels like. Like HIIT people, not every bad experience is worth having, or a learning experience. Yeah. It seems like a misery loves company kind of thing. These situations are just things that happen in life, whether through poor choices or extenuating circumstances. The message here is more one of ducking, pay attention, and try to learn from your mistakes. It's not about going out and doing good any of these on purpose. But if you end up in them, trying to make the best out of it and learn something. Being broke, going hungry, and being completely alone. Having your heart broken. Sad. Starbucks coffee black. It'll make you appreciate paying $4 for the whipped cream and frou-frou to cover up the ashtray taste, as well as making you appreciate a decent cup of black coffee. So I actually prefer black coffee, and I have found that most of the gas stations in my area have better coffee than Starbucks. Same here. I just want coffee, no sugar, no milk, no other flavorings. When it comes to simple coffee, you'd have to work hard to find worse than Starbucks anywhere. Living in the dorms at college. At least for a year. It could be great. It could be hell, but it will teach you a lot about adult life and how to handle other people. Assuming you're willing to learn, of course.